All right, today we're going through the 5 steps of the sale. We've gone through greeting, rapport building, and investigation. We've gone through presentation, where that falls and why you use it and when you don't. Now we're going to talk about the 4th step, the last step before the close. I should say also, because I get questions about this, I'm in no way arguing that these are the only 5 steps of the sale. What I am saying is that if your sale has 5 steps or 75 steps, it has these 5. Okay, you're always going to have these 5 steps present in your sale. So we're now past presentation, and now we're getting into demonstration. And this is a critically important piece, and one of the things that I really love about the sales process is how graded it is. There's grades. You pass through each section. And as you pass through each section, you check off everything that you accomplish in that section, then you move to the next. That's generally true. Like most things, it's a truism. There are times when you jump straight into demonstration, but that's still because 1 through 3 have already been fulfilled. For instance, a warm referral of someone who knows the market really well, and they pretty much already know the solution they need. Now the question is, how do you solve my problem different than that guy over there? Your competitor solves my problem too. How are you different? Now, once you confirm that, you don't jump straight in, you still confirm it. But you're going to jump into demonstration faster in that case than you would in a normal sales process. But right now what we're talking about is the generally true sales process and what you wait on. Now, the reason I'm going into this so deeply is because demonstration is probably where, maybe second to presentation, the biggest mistakes are made. So a car sale is really typical, but it's applicable across the board. I see it all the time. I gave my truck oil change situation as a perfect example. If you don't know that, you just go back and listen to my last video on presentation. The salesperson was super eager to have me buy. So he jumped straight into, you need this now, you need to buy this. And then when I didn't, crestfallen. Demonstration's similar. We're so probably soaked in our own industry that we will jump into explaining why our product is better before we ever give the other person time to breathe or space to say, yes, I am a good candidate for your product. But what demonstration is used for is to validate and support your claim. You've made a claim to the prospect. I'm claiming, Mr. Prospect, that this shiny object here that I'm holding, this right here, could be a solution to your problem. This might be the right one. And note the fact that I didn't say this absolutely is the fix. People don't like to be told. They like to learn and make their own decision. So when you don't hold tight to the idea that, hey, absolutely, this is a fix, you need to buy it. When you hold that loosely, then you're letting the customer come to their own conclusion. You're also not showing that you're trying to force them. And now you may know absolutely in your heart that this is the right solution, but you're giving space there to say, hey, if you don't like it, that guy over there will. I don't need to make this sale today. I'm trying to help you out. You have a problem. I think we can solve it. And once you get general agreement on that, that's when you move to demonstration. You've presented to someone you've investigated, who you've greeted. Now after presentation, you're going to demonstrate, you're going to support this idea. Okay, tell me more, John. I think I might agree with that. Sounds like that might work for us. How does it work? How does it go? So people want to know, how is this going to solve my problem exactly? How does your system work? How much is this going to cost? How are the costs spread out? Surprise charges. What happens if you don't fulfill on time? These are all come in a demonstration, along with technical validation. You've got an arc. The more technically advanced your product or service is, the more demonstration you're going to need. So all these come into it. This is why, again, sometimes there's 10 steps in demonstration. Sometimes I need 3 meetings just to demonstrate how our process is going to work. So this is why, again, I'm not holding tight to a concrete definition of only 5 steps in the sale. So hopefully that's all clear. But there's another concept I want to get across. Normally I try to keep these at 5 minutes, but there's a really important concept in demonstration that you need to understand and take into every single meeting. And that's this: people buy with emotion, they justify with logic. People buy with emotion, they justify with logic. So what does this mean for you? What this means is your logic of why they should buy is not going to move them. Your logic of the reasons why you think they should buy, heck, even when you know why they should buy, and maybe that's even more important, but your logic of why they should buy is not going to move them. Whose logic of why they should buy is going to move them? Theirs. You have to create an environment in which your prospect can learn and decide on their own that this is the best fit for them. People that lose sales consistently, don't do this. This is the heart of consultative selling. It is the antithesis of the hard sale. Not saying there's not times for a hard sale. We'll get into that on another video. But today, what we're talking about is a natural, organic sale. And demonstration is when people have begun to come to your side. By this point in the sale, you know whether someone's come to your side or not. If you don't, you probably shouldn't move in a demonstration. This is, again, going back to the illustration I gave before. An attorney never asks a question in court they don't already know the answer to. If you're moving in deeper in the sales process and you don't already know that this person thinks that you're a viable option for them and they have budget and they're ready to buy, you shouldn't be moving this deep. Because you should establish a barrier for yourself, for self-respect, for you, your company, and your product, that, hey, Mr. Customer, you know, I'll have a beer with you, I'll go fishing with you, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on this if you don't think this is a good option for you. That's a position you want to be in. And demonstration should be your barrier line. You shouldn't be demonstrating to anybody that has not said, hey, Jim, Jane, Sarah, I want to talk to you about this. I think this could really help us. If you're coming from it from a position of, hey, Mr. Prospect, I need to make sales. I need you to look at this. My boss said that I need to have 9 demonstrations a month. I need to have I need to book 5 demo calls a week, and I've only got 4. If you're coming at it from that position, you're in bad shape. You've got to, even if that's true, which it is, we all have quotas. You must position yourself in, I've got something of value, you have a need, let's talk. And if they don't indicate that they have a need and they don't agree, bounce, move to the next, because you're going to be arguing from a position of weakness the whole time through. You must talk to people who believe they have a need. That is in your greeting process. That's in your investigation process before you make the first prospecting phone call. You have to do that. So why am I talking about that in the demonstration phase? Because you get all the way down to demonstration phase and you didn't do that in the first place, it's all wasted time. Your close rate is going to be so low, you'll be counting that in Antarctica. You are not going to succeed that way. You simply must come from a position. Number one, if you're not selling something of value, you need to get out of it. Don't try to sell something that doesn't have value. Don't try to sell stuff that doesn't work well. If it doesn't actually solve a problem for the customer, don't sell it. Stop. Go get something you can be proud of selling. Fulfill an actual need. And now, when you get down to demonstration, customers will lie to you. Everybody lies. Lying protects you. So we'll talk about that in another video too, about how do you handle it emotionally when you're being lied to a lot, because that's a hard place as a salesperson. A lot of salespeople get jaded from that, and you can't allow that to happen. So again, getting down to demonstration without having already determined as a concrete fact that this person you're talking to is not just a viable option, it's really beyond that. They want your solution. They want it. They believe this is going to solve their problem. You should be out by the end of rapport building investigation. Your investigation should build in the hypothetical sales questions, and you should be asking questions around the solution. And if they're not indicating at that point, you never even present. You never even get to step 3, much less step 4. But remember, again, it's very critical that you keep in mind, people buy with emotion, they justify with logic, okay? And demonstration is when you're giving them the logic to support that emotional decision to buy. Now, the last thing I'll say about this, and I'll get down to this breakdown in another video, if you're selling into the commercial space, this is not as true. It's true for different reasons, but you also have to understand that person's buying something different from you. They're not buying the actual product. They're buying, I'll get into that. It's a surprise term. It's my own term that I've made up, and I think you'll like it. So that's all I want to say about demonstration today. Remember, we've gone greeting, rapport building, and investigation. Those are both combined into one step. Presentation. Hey, Mr. Prospect, I think this is something you might like. I think this might do it for you. Let's fix your problem. Now you're demonstrating how that's going to solve their problem. Then we'll get into closing next time. I will give you a little hint. Closing isn't a big deal if you've done all the other work. People have a hard time closing because they haven't demonstrated value, because they never did. They presented the wrong thing. They presented something when the prospect had not indicated in the investigation phase that they are a good fit, and you didn't do your research. You just blindly calling people who might not be a fit for you. They took a meeting with you that makes you look good because you booked a meeting. You feel good. You get a little bit of an endorphin payoff because you booked a meeting. You hit some numbers that in the end don't really mean a lot if you're not doing the rest of the work. And you do all that work and get down to close and they don't buy and you get upset. Well, do the work. When you do the work, you're selling a viable product to a viable prospect. Those closes happen. Okay? So again, demonstration. You're demonstrating the viability of your product or service. You are giving the customer the emotional ammunition they need to justify their emotional decision. Nobody wants to be wrong. Being wrong feels unsafe. And you move to the close, which we'll talk about next time. Happy selling.